silly. While this is going, let me check over here. Starting. We are live. Okay. All right. What a morning again. Oh my gosh.
Good morning to everybody. I hope that everybody is doing really well. Yes.
I hope so.
You know what? God. This is our second Friday live stream. Welcome.
Mm-hmm.
And the second one that we've been a little challenged. Yes.
Yes. Yes. And it wasn't just this. It's been in other areas of my life and other areas of my work.
Mm-hmm.
It's work themed, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like every time I'm trying, well, I guess not everybody, but I feel a lot of work challenges. Like you said, if you have a project that's supposed to help people, be careful. There's challenges right now, and I'm feeling it. Mm-hmm. It took a minute to catch me. It was fast.
We're feeling it, and so we'd love to hear if you're feeling it. And of course, we immediately call upon the avatars, the cosmic galaxy, the Federation, all the avatars to surround us, so that they can so that we can have an equilibrium, because there definitely is an influx happening right now. And as Loon says, we've had a lot of disruption. The good news is that we ultimately prevail.
Absolutely. But you have to laugh at, laughter has been the saving grace. Like, yes. I'm just like maniacal, laughing at myself. Like, really? This is it? Okay.
I'm glad you're laughing at yourself, because you know what? I've had a couple of meltdowns. Computers that don't work, computers that shut themselves off. Music, telephone, and just communication in general has been off, And again, it's almost like as we're going in one direction, something happens, occurs, some kind of situation, whatever, that sort of derails you or is attempting to derail you.
Set you back, I want to say. Yeah.
Right. And,
your time. It's a lot of time stuff, right?
Yes.
Like having to do something over again, having to try it again, or I don't know. It's just been
without a doubt. I've been trying. I've been trying to print. First, I had a Microsoft Word problem where I had 6 programmers work at it, right, for the course of 3 days, and now my printer's acting up, and with no rhyme or reason, it goes into a pause mode, and an hour later, when I'm away from the computer doing something else, suddenly I hear the computer, the printer.
Yeah. Oh my God, it's been so funny.
Yeah. And so a lot of electronics are being affected.
I mean, also. I think we could talk, it could be tied potentially to Mercury retrograde. I think starts today or tomorrow, and I always feel Mercury retrograde in the shadow period, so before it happens, which deals with communications, but this is different, or it's in conjunction, making it even more bananas, right? There's something there for sure.
Yes.
Oof.
Yes.
We wanted to talk today about the 1111 portal, because you're so knowledgeable about it, and I'm over here fried from it. And I know you are too, a little. Or you're stabilizing now.
Well, I usually have some kind of a gathering or 1111, like a bridge holding kind of ritual or ceremony. I didn't have one this 1111, and I wish I did.
Yeah, I feel like now it's next year.
Because part of those gatherings are about helping to harness the energy. And in a nutshell, I think what's happening is, and this is, of course, my personal inside observation, is these floodgates of energies are coming in, and we're not catching up or, able on the physical level to assimilate it fast enough. And so it's creating a little bit of a jam, like a backup, if you may.
Yeah.
And, it's cumbersome.
It is. It is.
Right.
Yeah.
And so, is this supposed to be disruptive? That's not the disruptive part.
No.
Yeah.
It might make you feel a little lightheaded.
Yeah.
A little ungrounded, like you said. Yeah. But it shouldn't be disruptive, I would say.
Right. It's about knowing, and you and I were talking about this just briefly, maybe the overwhelmness is on the fact that we were in an action mode prior to these energies arriving. So hitting in, in the overwhelmness is we need to catch up.
Yeah.
We need to start showing up.
Yeah.
I did a reading in my channel, a 5-card reading the other day, and that 2 of the cards were about action.
Oh yeah.
Right?
It's a busy time too. I feel like we're all being pulled to do something, and as Sagittarius season approaches too, it's just around the corner. That's very much about like walking the walk and talking the talk, which we always say. So it's like you have to do it. Like you have to show up and ground your divine connection, your authenticity, your highest self, let's say, but like through action and how you carry yourself, big and small. It doesn't have to be these like grand things for every single person. Like, come on, but
I'm hearing the word balance as we speak, and some of these words, or terms or things that we, repetitive, and yet the more expansive we become, just as important it is to be able to take a chill pill, believe it or not, and really delve in to enjoying those tacos, having that glass of sangria, getting down and dirty on the dance floor. And I'm serious, because if we become the observer and just, envision this vast surge of energy, right? We don't want to be top heavy. We want to be able to assimilate, and how we do that, well, we meditate, we ground, but really delving into the embodiment of enjoying life as well.
Yeah.
Because this way we fuse that energy.
Yeah.
Yes?
Oh, yeah.
Is that resonating?
Definitely. That's come up with a few clients. It comes up with myself. Even a video I recently did. It's like, finding the enjoyment. It's hard to connect for a lot of people, let's say, with like the earth realm, especially the ascended types, the cosmic types. It's hard because even without all this energy stuff going on, it's freaking confusing here. There's trauma, there's injustice, there's imbalance, there's like, why do we have to hurt something to do this? Like, there's this duality, right? There's like polarity, duality, all this stuff going on. And from a heightened place, when you're in, let's say, like a 5th dimensional point of view, it doesn't make freaking sense. It's like, why am I doing, why do I need money? Why do I have to go to work and do something I hate, potentially? Or why do I have to do this? Or why, do I have to kill this plant to eat it? Like, I'm not saying, like, trying to be crazy, but, like, we are killing a plant to eat it, too. Like, it just doesn't make sense, Like, why is this how it's set up? But I see that very often in terms of like an energy work perspective, from an under-energized root chakra and a hyper-energized crown. Just like you said, top heavy, not grounded. And the best way for me in a practical way, and what I always suggest, is like enjoy, like connect with your body. Have your tea and be like, oh my God, this is just the right temperature. It's so refreshing, blah, blah, like whatever it is. And just appreciate every sensation, the music, the sunset, and focus on that as much as you can, because you have the choice to focus on, all the horrible things, which we should focus on, because we should be trying to make it a better place. So I'm not trying to be ridiculous, but take it in like a vitamin, the enjoyment, the dancing, the, how much, how, your partner smells at the end of the day, or like what,
that.
Like,
absolutely, yeah.
And just like love it,
Well, when we think about, ascension, at least in this realm, it's almost like it has to follow that the next word has to be embodiment.
Yeah. It has to be here.
Because we know that there's multiple unlimited dimensions above this dimension, where they have no bodies, where they have no emotions, right? And so we have to sort of work with what we have, is the call.
Yeah.
And we have emotions, and we have a body, and no matter how ascended we become, we have to eat, we have to sleep. So if we accept that, right, then we should fall into a place of acceptance, align ourselves is a better word, with acceptance that this experience in this realm is about embodiment. And the balance is being able, of course, to hover and go above and
get a
pull
breath,
and inside and all that. But then to the real gift here is about embodying it and allowing that energy to be reflective in the body and in the conscious and in the subconscious and every aspect and the mind and the spirit. Yes?
Yeah, definitely.
You know, I should talk. That was one of my greatest challenges when I began to develop, you know, like I wanted to be, and we've said this in other teachings, you know, like, oh, like, you know, like I definitely wanted to be a zombie, you know, and I learned the hard way that I needed to be here and to embody that. But I feel that that's going to be something that we're going to have to, you know, work with or work on for the next year or two until we really learn until the earth realm really harnesses and anchors these cosmic energies.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Definitely. And there are things that we can do to help ground that, even through like visualizations, I want to say, like, just like what we do in the Shamanic Apprentice, one of my favorite, super simple but favorite things, the invocation of working with earth energy. I've been guiding people to do it in reverse, you know, send it down. So in our invocation, we put on some music, we dance, and we like visualize pulling up this earth energy through our chakras, and we share it. But I see it too as like, we can do the same thing through our will. We can pull down, ground this cosmic energy, shoot it through our chakras, because a lot of us now are operating up here, which isn't quite comfortable. It's very heady. You know, a lot of overthinking, perhaps, a lot of trying to put these angel numbers together, like, what does this mean? You know, like, too much, you know what I mean? Like, every little thing is like, oh my God, did you see the serial number? It's, you know, it's like, okay, wait, I get it, but also, like, let's tone it down a little, too. And, like, connect with our emotions in a guiding way. How does this make me feel, instead of, what can I think about this? What can I turn this into from that perspective? So anyway, bringing down this cosmic energy, shooting it through all of your chakras down into the earth as a gift for her, as a gift to reciprocate. I don't know if you can hear that. I'm sure you can. This is another one of the disruptions we've felt.
It's one of the challenges that we've been overcoming ever since we've tried to do a live stream.
Yeah. So there was a problem. I'll just explain. There was a problem with the wire outside for the Wi-Fi or whatever. They're fixing it right now. Right on time.
And by the way, they were supposed to fix it from 1 to 3.
Yeah.
But surprisingly, they just happened to come early. Yes.
Yeah. Laugh. Like, I have to laugh about it. Because part of me would get very like, oh, you know. But it's okay, really.
And so we would love to hear, of course, we're on live stream, but, you know, we'd love to see comments as well. How is this post 11/11, you know, affecting you in any way? You know, how are you assimilating it? What observations have you noticed about the energies, about the flow, actions that are happening? You know, opportunities is a very big thing right now.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Yes.
Like falling out of the sky, but it's like, but they require effort. I feel like every opportunity that's been coming up is like almost like a carrot on a string, and you gotta like get to the carrot, or maybe not a string because it is attainable, but it seems like it's like, okay, I got your present. Yeah, I'm just gonna put it up here, like, you know. So it's like you have to like do something. Like, I had a very cool opportunity come up, but I have to like fly out early in the morning, and I'm coming home on a red eye that night. I'm not like going to LA, coming back in the same day, technically, kind of, and it's like, okay, I'm gonna do that because I want to show up, but I'm also like,
right,
you know, like it's work too. It's not a piece of cake.
Well, there it is. It's
I'm gonna turn down the gain a little just in case. Sorry.
It's requiring a lot of us, and there is that show up kind of thing, and I think that it's overwhelming. Because we're not used to. We sort of become complacent, if you may, a little.
Yeah, a little.
With, you know what, well, I'm doing this. I'm
like
doing
it's
the
predictable,
shows.
kind of.
It's sort of, you know. And by the way, that predictability could have been very successful.
Oh yeah.
And very fulfilling in its own right.
Mm-hmm.
But guess what? We're expansive, and we need this expansion for this ascension.
Mm-hmm.
We need some heavy hitters out there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Why? Because there's so many people who are hungry, who are eager, who are open, who are receptive, and they're looking for direction.
Mm-hmm.
They're looking for guidance,
Mm-hmm.
and we need
Yeah.
we need frontliners.
A lot of people stepping into the front liner too, like as in I'm getting a lot of people signing up for like Reiki classes.
Yes.
And because there are people who have kind of had I have a lot of these, and they're so amazing because like I can relate to them so much. It's like they always felt like a healer type as a kid. They were always drawn to this. They were very sensitive, this or that, and they just always had this feeling of like wanting to do good or protect people or whatever kind of was specific to them. And now they're like, okay, I'm ready. I'm going to do it.
Right.
I'm going to do it, and it's just so beautiful to see someone take that first step into that lifestyle, because it really is a lifestyle to be that person. You might have already been doing it. Like, don't get me wrong. You don't need a Reiki certificate to freaking help people. Like, I don't mean that at all. But to be more suited, to be more with more of an arsenal to help people, or I don't know, like there's certainly something to be said for having a teacher or finding a great book or even through therapy, something along the lines of that. I'm just very happy to see that. I
totally resonate with you. I think that people will, again, as the field becomes yet more and more expansive, people are really stepping out and taking a step from being curious to explorative to showing up, and feeling okay with that. Because, 10 years ago, all of this was very obscure. It was very mysterious. It was very this, that, people didn't have the comfort level. But thanks to, the many guides, mentors, teachers, authors, and the likes, YouTube, you and I, and what we do, and the countless of thousands of others, it's made a difference. It's made a dent, and people are finally feeling comfortable. So you see how I'm ignoring it, right?
Yeah, I know, you're good. I'm
like... in saying, like, I want to know about this, or like you said, I've had a yearning, and I want to develop this further. I see that in the apprenticeship, apprenticeships, in the shamanic apprenticeships, and it's a joy to see them, guess what, go from there to the expo floor, because it's almost like, it's not just curiosity, but it really is a preparation that then, like a graduation that then takes them to the front line.
Again, right? They're walking the walk then. Yeah. Like, it's like the actions, the movements, the conversations, like everything, and it's resonating authentically from them, and they're just carving like a wake or something almost, or you can kind of picture it that way, Yeah.
I was going to say something along those lines and I forgot. It was about, I think that's going to be something that we're going to see that's really going to grow as well, like almost like academies, learning institutions, that become much more broader.
Yeah.
Like aromatherapy, reflexology, attunements, shamanic healings, tools, aromatherapy, I've always had a vision, by the way, of putting together, my first vision was of seeing it as an online tool, academy, where people could come and, almost like a directory, find a teacher.
Yeah, totally.
Or a mentor or guide. But definitely, and that's a great thing when we think about, is that the vision of awaits us.
Yeah.
Right?
Big old Hogwarts.
Yeah. I know what I wanted to share. Do you know what I saw this morning? And I flipped. I was like, oh my God. Marianne Williamson, who is an amazing self-help author. Are you familiar with her? Oh, geez.
Yeah. She do a lot of angel stuff? Like
she does it. She wrote the multi-international bestseller, Course in Miracles. And she wrote a book, I forget the title, I know that you guys are going to help me out in the comments, something Shadow. She's acclaimed. And I believe it was last year she ran for office, like for Congress or councilwoman in her, I think it was Sedona. I know, I don't have all the details, but I know she ran for office. And that was like, what? Because she's
she's a woo-woo.
she's a guru, you know. And she made an announcement, I believe it was last night, I saw it this morning, that she's going to run.
Oh, cool.
For president. I don't usually talk about politics, but I was just like,
interesting.
What? And there it is. I'm just correlating that to the movement.
Yeah.
To the movement. You know, it's insane to think of someone holistic, a self-help author, a teacher and a guru in her own right. What? Running for president? So I was just like, I was in the cosmos this morning with that one.
Like, can we make this happen, please?
Yeah, well, it shows the growth, you know, of how expansive we've become.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Sorry, my spine is a little twisted.
No. And so what else do you have on that little...
I made a little list.
Yes.
We were talking, and I'm not going to share anything personal, but about just relationships this morning. And it certainly comes into something to mention of, and I know we're all aware of it, excuse me, but Venus retrograde ending and how we might be feeling from that relief or that direct, Venus going direct, and it might be coming up for some of us in very, from my perspective, and I'm clearly have not talked to everyone yet, you know, so I could be wrong, but it seems very like black and white, like either whatever your relationship, like I'm just gonna take it from a relationship point of view, but there's obviously other stuff that goes into Venus retrograde, like money and abundance as well, and creative energy and stuff like that. But in terms of relationships, it seems like we've kind of had this period over the past, let's say 2 months about, where it's been pretty intense, you know, and it was like kind of like cleaning out everything, like you can't hide anything almost, or what did we not do right in the first time? Like, what do we have to redo this whole thing? We got to redecorate the room. We got to like tear everything down and build it up again. Or is this time to go? Like, is this a relationship ending? Because I've seen that as well for different like clients and stuff, or not all of them, but things like that coming up, you know? So if you're feeling like that, if you're witnessing that, if that is a part of what's going on for you, you might be in the lucky group. And I say lucky, but you know, if you're lucky, it means that you guys have done the work. So congratulations to you.
Absolutely.
You know, I don't mean
love
that
you
luck,
that
really.
You added that there.
Yeah.
And there is a celebration, you know, for all the multidimensional couples, whether they're soulmates or a nuclear relationship, which is, you know, like when you come for the children and to the twin flames who made it through the threshold, you know. And in between there is, and we've talked about this as well in, you know, many of the teachings and the videos, this struggle, this continuous, you know, extreme, I feel, I've observed, struggle with certain relationships, you know. And I love that you said black or white, because it's almost as if, you know, those... I don't know, videos or things where the walls keep getting closer and closer and closer, right? Like where there's no space. I feel like that's what's occurring here. Like, in other words, for our highest good, and by the way, we have a higher self up in the cosmos in this portal, you know, sending us ourselves messages here, you know. So our council, our higher self, our everybody is saying no more. And almost squeezing the, you know, the space where the tolerance of those relationships is being managed right now, because in truth, they really don't serve us, and we already know that.
Yeah, that's, I think, the point. It's that, like,
we already know.
We know it, and it's maybe
Yes.
some people tried to make it work or whatever, and I get it, you know, no judgment at all, but it's a tough time, is I think what I'm just trying to acknowledge for some people with this relationship stuff. And it might be the relationship you have with yourself. It might be the relationship you have in some other way. Like, I don't want to make it seem like it's only romantic relationships necessarily. That does seem to be the theme. Like, it does seem to be kind of like the...
Well, it's a big one because it's about unification. And we know that the new paradigm is about complementary energies across the realm. So complementary, again, not only in relationships, but partnerships, alliances, tribes. But of course, we know that a big part of our experience here is having, you know, partnership relationships that create families, you know, children. And so in that respect, it does play relationships, say romantic relationships, plays a pretty big part in the bigger picture of things.
Yeah.
But overall, it is about complementary energies, and if we're not getting that, then we may experience a lot of anguish, because intellectually, spiritually, mentally, we know, and even emotionally, we know it. But there's attachments, and you know, even for myself, I experience at times, as I'm struggling in my own relationship, so I openly say that, with a sense of failure at times, you know, almost feeling like, well, I may not be doing something right, because if I were, then this would be working. But that's a judgment, and that's a misconception, because it's not about necessarily doing something wrong. It's about the fact that the energies don't align or don't complement each other.
From 5D, there really is no right or wrong necessarily, you know?
Right.
So,
but I'm sharing that openly, you know, in the emotional aspect, we go there into the judgment part, into the failure part, into the hurting part. You know, this hurts. And yet, we have to master recognizing that universally we're looking for alignment to the best of our ability in all aspects. And you and I complement each other really well, which is why we're able to do so much together. Right? Yeah. But if I didn't like you, or, you know...
Or we just rubbed each other...
You know, right. We had different views, or if you didn't respect each other.
Right.
That's a big one.
That's the huge one.
That's a big one.
Yeah.
Then we will have difficulties performing and, you know, delivering all that, doing all the service work that we do together.
Absolutely.
So that word is key. Respect. Respect. You know, if we can't respect each other, then how are we going to be in alignment? How are we going to create a vast contribution to anything?
Right. Do you think that respect, and coming from like the perspective of relationships and perhaps not experiencing like respect in our relationship or, you know, something like that, do you think that it could be tied to an inner sense of not having respect for ourselves, like poor boundaries, let's say, or taking this when we're like, I don't really want this, but I'm gonna take it, kind of, you know what I mean? Like that kind of just like, respect might not be the best word, but like holding ourselves in a place of
the highest value.
Yeah, you know what
that's
I'm trying to say?
That's a great question, Loon. Because,
like, instead of, I don't mean blame, like self-blame, like,
right.
oh, I'm a failure, but like, am I not respecting myself?
Right.
You know what I mean? Like,
I love that question because, you know, a lot of times I get asked, you know, by students, and it's almost like they're, you know, like they're challenging and saying like, but isn't everything a reflection of you or us, right? Yeah. I would say yes, but you know what? I leave a 99% to that because if somebody's spitting at your face, right? It may have nothing to do with you.
Or a natural disaster. You know?
Right. And it's because where we go when we say, oh, but this is really reflecting of you, immediately to a place of
blame.
judging.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Blame.
Of
well, this
looking
is what you got.
at we're not doing right? How about if the call is what you're saying and the very answer to this, which is to take a stance? How about if that is the reflection? In other words, no, I love myself enough to not tolerate this.
Yeah.
To know that I'm worthy of more. You follow?
Yeah.
So in that sense, it's a reflection, but not so that you can go and blame and feeling that you're responsible for the way the person's, projecting or acting, but more so, what is it inviting you to
work
unveil,
on, on
to
yourself.
claim, to I love that you brought that up, because I hear that a lot, and even in my own relationship, I hear it. Like in other words, passing the buck kind of thing.
Of course, yeah.
And no, sometimes it's just about taking a stance and saying, no, this doesn't feel right.
Right.
Or I know that I deserve more than this. By the way, again, this can relate to work. I hear that a lot of work situations, co-workers and bosses,
friend groups,
family members, siblings, parents, who don't agree, who don't approve, and that blame, I didn't raise you up this way, or, this is about taking a stance, this paradigm. It really is about having the courage
to do what's right for you.
Yes.
And love it.
And love it.
And love it. Yeah.
And love it. Yes. And love it. And by the way, I add in there, although we're ageless and timeless, but let's be real, there's a timeline in this physical realm. And so I like to call that the afternoon of our lives, when we're edging into a place where, we've gone through those insecure years where we didn't know ourselves. Maybe we had substance problems, relation problems, parental, you know what I mean? Like all that shit. And we're finally finding our way, to claiming ourselves, to knowing ourselves, to honoring ourselves. And this is the time then to live the afternoon of your life, which means to heck with who approves. And that doesn't mean that we don't, F you, but to honor the self, which means that if you feel that there's a yearning for you to take a stance or take a job or take a partner or take whatever, and somebody doesn't approve of it, well, tough shit.
Yeah.
You're
gonna see them resonate out of your life then,
right?
Or something about that dynamic will resonate out or vibrate out. Well, and that's okay. I think people get fearful of that very often.
Absolutely, and it just kind of
I lost. It's a loss. I lost that. It's no. Yes. I promise, nothing's lost.
I see a lot of that, by the way, in the sessions and in people that I work with. Also, is a fear of ridicule, a fear of not being accepted,
fear of being alone,
a fear of being alone, exactly. And so I feel, and of course it is emotional, and it is lonely. It could be lonely. It's scary.
There's times,
but we've got to take the leap anyway. We've got to take the step anyway, because if we don't, then we've sort of betrayed ourselves if we have a desire to take a step, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And we're letting something else or somebody else tell us, to prevent us through that fear or that power that we give away. And guess what? We'll come back here then in another lifetime to repeat it all over again.
Or it'll be in the same life and you'll still be doing it. You'll still be attracting that kind of relationship. Or you'll still be... And I'm not saying you're attracting it, but you'll still be dancing with it. It'll still be okay. All right, I'm gonna try this one. They showed up at the right time. That's always with the relationships. They're here on time, but it doesn't matter if they're not the right person. Sometimes I see that happening. It's happened for me, where I'm like, all right, I'll date this person, and then I'm like, why am I even doing this? No offense, but why am I doing this? Because I'm bored, because I'm lonely, because I don't want to be by myself. I should probably get to know myself more so that I can, like, I love my alone time. It's like the world stops when I have alone time, and I'm just like, I could write, I could do this, I could just lay here, I could veg, I could do work. I love it. Like, I love all of that, and I think I'm very fortunate to have gotten to that place, because it certainly wasn't like that forever. But if you have that fear of loneliness, it might be a reflection of, like, but I always have me, so let me work on that connection, you know, that
I love that as
strength.
well. And yet, you know what? We all have uniquely created our own path and destiny. And what I mean by that is, I love, and you're absolutely right, maybe the call is to the self, you know. And then some of us have done a lot of that, you know, and this is why we can't get away from that, you know. So I think that it's important to look almost like at our own little path, a matrix, you know, like I call it matrix because every little part creates part of the puzzle. And be honest with ourselves. Have we really invested quality time to the self, to career, to whatever desires, goals?
Yeah, I think that's the big one.
Right.
Like what do my fulfillment?
Exactly. Yes.
Do I know what will make me fulfilled?
Right.
And am I aiming that way?
Right. Or have I focused, you know, my last 20 years with, you know, always with the relationship? Because if that's the case, then what you're saying is absolutely right. You know, like, there's other things. And the great thing is that when we stop focusing or obsessing over something and redirect that direction into something else,
oh my God,
then not only do you start opening doorways for new experiences and opportunities, but suddenly this that you've let go of slowly starts to just flow in because you're not fixated on it.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yeah. I think a lot of times like going to relationships again, I met Greg, my partner, my husband, when I was dating someone else. Like, I had another boyfriend, and I was like, oh no, I gotta break up with this guy because I like this guy here, you know? Like, because I wasn't looking. Like, I wasn't, like, there was no need. There was no, like, you know?
I'm up you on that one. When I met my current partner, I was married. And I wasn't looking for it either.
Yeah, no. It just comes.
So,
it just comes. Right. Yeah. And...
But yes, when you're not fixated, you know. But I love that idea, by the way. So if you need any assistance in, you know, in... I would say almost like a vision board, where as opposed to adding to it what you desire, it's more about what you've accomplished. And to be really authentic, you have to be really honest. So, you know, working with a coach or, you know, even one of us, you know, because if you're authentic and you really take a step back and observe, where have you invested? Like, what has been the primary energetic pull in your life, you know, to where you are right now? You know, has it been work? Has it been you? Has it been a relationship? And it will give you then almost like a map, right? And a snapshot of where you've been energetically and maybe where you need to be.
More clarity on how, like, what can be let go of or what needs to be redirected, for sure. I think that that's so important. We're constantly spending our energy. Like, yes, we're tapped into limitless energy. I don't mean that, but, like, your focus. You only have, let's say, it might be very powerful, but you only have so much focus. Let's say, like, in your vision or in your target or in your day or the time in your day that you're working towards something. And if you're constantly being distracted or your thoughts keep going to what you don't have, like, in a negative way, not like, oh, I'm gonna get that, it's gonna be so good, but like, oh, but this person's not here, or oh, but I hate my job, or it's like, where are you spending that energy, you know? And can it be redirected to serve you? Like, absolutely it can. I think I'm always tying it back to, like, energy work and, like, how I see, like, the like map, like the map of our body, like, kind of playing out. But reading about your chakras, learning about your chakras, for me is so helpful for pinpointing what you know, because it's a lot, right? If we're like, oh my God, I have to balance my energy. Oh, there's 7 chakras. One of them tells me this. One of them tells me this. Blah, blah, blah.
Right.
You know, like I got to ground. I got to get connected. I got to meditate. I got to do, like, it's a lot. It can be overwhelming, especially if you don't know where to start off the bat or whatever. So having a method of like getting an energy reading, checking your own energy, understanding the chakras so you can see how one might manifest if it's, let's say, over-energized. So like, the throat being over-energized is typically seen, you know, everybody's different, but very often seen in like that overthinking, like a lot, like, oh, and then this is going to have a, and it's like you're sending out all this energy like ahead of you in a path that like might not even unfold because you haven't even gotten there yet. So if you felt yourself like resonating that way, you could be like, I need to get out of my head and into my body because my body is connected to the subconscious. I can work there. I can work through my feelings and feel, is this warm? Oh, it's cold over here. I want to go back to the warm. And you can feel, does this feel good? Or this makes me feel upset? Does this feel good? Or this makes me... And, you know, I think our feelings, we should always discern what they're trying to tell us. So, you know, I'll definitely say that. But I don't know. I just feel like that can be such a helpful tool when we're trying to get in touch with, like, what do I want to fulfill? Or I know what I want to fulfill, and how am I not in alignment with that? Because... I say this in videos and in classes, but I see the heart as our brain almost of like what we need to experience here in this body through this time. You know, you might have all your books, you might have your classes, like these things that you're just meant to kind of do and step into. And if the other chakras are not in alignment with your heart, or if your heart is out of alignment, you're either not getting those messages, or your thoughts, your actions, your feelings, your connection, all this stuff is not supporting the heart desire to like move forward in that way. You know what I mean? So I just
what do you think of someone who says that they have no goals?
I'd say that they probably have an under-energized heart chakra, that they can't hear it. They might have had some kind of trauma. They might have been hurt. They might have been something where they built a wall around themselves and they can't hear the heart message. And it's like, it's hard. But what I would suggest then is start listening to the messages that don't even make any damn sense. Like, turn left, you know? Like, you're going straight, turn left. Take a walk. Call that friend. Call, like, those things that you're like, why am I going to call? Get out of your head and just, like, listen to those little messages. And I would act from there to start the stepping stones of, like, listening, getting on board with, like, the message.
I love what you're saying, Loon, about being in the heart. And, you know, what we love, you know, is given birth to in the heart. And we do have to see that the brain, you know, has a mind of its own, and it's called the subconscious or the conscious, depending on where we are at that moment, you know. And the self-talk that's so predominant, that puts us into autopilot. Because at the end of the day, however mindful we desire to be and how much time we may invest in meditation and even in the chakras and taking all these classes, and if we don't recognize that there's a constant self-talk on autoplay, we're going to have challenges. And we're going to feel very...
Unless it's really good self-talk.
Oh, yeah, absolutely, of course. And thank you for throwing that in. Absolutely. If it's positive, if it's affirmations, visualizations, kind of
but then it would be in alignment.
Right.
Yeah.
But when it's not, when it's the, I have to worry, and I can't.
What am I doing? What am I doing tomorrow? Yeah.
All that, right? That is, not only is it exhausting, but... because it's automatic, it's constantly playing, and over time overrides the intentions. This is why I always say that it's great if we take an hour to meditate, but it's useless if we spend the next 23 hours worrying and feeding, you know, fear and jealousy and insecurities, and it's useless.
Yeah.
Because those 23 hours just overrode that 1 hour.
Yeah.
It did.
Yeah.
You know, I'm sorry. And it did.
Yeah.
And so, consciousness, that means being deliberately aware to the best that we can. And we can do this, by the way. I spoke to you about a workshop that we need to do together. Yes?
Yeah, I don't know, but yeah.
Yes.
You didn't talk to me since then about it.
But we have to do it because here we are again.
I know.
It's about the conscious mind, and doing a tuning complementary to it, because we have to learn how to become deliberately conscious.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
And it gets easier. Every time you do it, it gets easier.
It does.
It really
You know
does.
what? And she's right. When you find yourself over time, what happens is, I don't know, I'm sure it happens to you.
Yeah.
If I'm in a bad place, I hear myself being in a bad place.
Yeah. You're like,
I might not notice, the very instant, but within a minute or two.
Yeah.
It's
because you feel it too.
Yeah.
You feel it in your body. You're like, oh, wait a minute. What am I doing?
Yeah.
Wait.
Exactly. Where am I here? I need to get out of here. And then this is not a good place. And pulling then on those, positive thoughts and connections and practices and rituals. That's when it comes. That's when you can pull into all of this.
Yeah.
When you recognize. But you know what? There's a lot of people who don't recognize it.
Yeah.
That this is their state of what the being is, this constant.
Yeah. It's excessive.
Excessive.
To put it mildly, you
Yes.
know, and it's repetitive and it's really hard to break, and it's almost like arguing.
Right.
I'll say something good, or when I first started this business, it was so abstract, and my dad had no idea what the hell I was, he still doesn't, but and I'd be like, oh, and he'd just be like, oh, well, God willing, or oh yeah, well, and I'm like, no, I don't need God for this, because I'm doing it. I honor that, don't get me wrong, but it was this oh, well, hopefully, and it's no, I'm in control, I'm driving the bus here, I know where I'm going, oh, well, and it was always this it's very disempowering reaction, right away. And I think a lot of people have this thing of they don't want to pop the bubble, or they don't want to set their expectations too high, because then they know they're going to be let down. And it's I get that. I totally, we've all been oh, this is going to play out really good. And then it's it's different, it's still going to play out. So what I would suggest there is appreciate the experience and the feeling of what these gifts might be without attaching to the outcome of them. So let's say people who get nominated for an Academy Award or something. Do they want to win? Probably, I don't know, I guess so, right? But the fact that they were nominated, let it be that, let it be that, oh my God, I got acknowledged for this. Maybe it will lead to amazing business for me, but maybe it won't, and I just got seen, and that's all I needed right now. You know what I mean?
I totally
appreciating
agree.
all of that.
Beautiful, yes. I was with a beloved yesterday, and for a couple of years now, and hopefully she's hearing and seeing this, has been called to write a book. I believe a very important book. And for at least 3 or 4 years, maybe longer, she's been procrastinating to write this book. And I think that one of the reasons maybe is tied to what you're just saying right now. I love that nomination, right? I think that part of it is of the self-dialogue there may be what for? Who's going to read my book? There's thousands of books. There's thousands of authors. It's,
Yeah.
And suddenly it's it has no value. And nothing could be furthest from the truth, because I'm a strong advocate holder that everything that we create, these beautiful teachings, are an agreement, part of an agreement that we made with many souls, including you and I, to find each other, to create this platform, and for these souls to find us, and for us to have this exchange. And likewise, if you're inspired to create a portrait, painting, jewelry, oils, a book, music,
anything,
fabric, it doesn't matter, cooking, cookies, it is because it was not only an intention for your soul to create it, but also to share it with certain individuals. And you may not even know that. You know what? Let's let's take that for example. So you bake cookies and you bake it and you have a shop somewhere and somebody comes in and buys a cookie and you'll never see them again. Right? So how could that be an exchange? Well, you want to know what? That cookie could have saved somebody's life. That cookie could have been the inspiration that person needed. And it sounds crazy, but it's true. You know, somebody could have been depressed and suddenly had a moment and say, you know what? I'm going to treat myself to a delicious cookie because I'm worth it. Or somebody could have been ailing and depressed and somebody came in and bought a cookie who took it to someone and said, I love you. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. So we don't know. We never, most of the time, we don't know the impact that what we create can have to someone else.
I agree 100%. And I think though it's important to just tie into that like the experience of baking the cookies has to be joyful too. You know,
absolutely.
It's
without
like,
a doubt. Well, it starts there.
Yeah.
With you answering the call without a doubt.
Yeah.
Yes.
You know, definitely.
Yes. But isn't that beautiful that we could see, right? And maybe not see.
Yeah, like how it affects, where things play out.
Yeah.
And to not let that be a discouraging factor, you know? Yeah. It's like don't try to see too far. Like do what you're called to do and then
do it anyway.
Like it's gonna come out. Like it's gonna come. The cookie's gonna get bought or someone's gonna find the book or like whatever it is, but it's like the act is the journey too.
Yes.
You know what I'm trying to say? So
yes.
It's like like completing a book. Like I don't care if no one fucking reads this at all. I finished this. I finished it. I did it. You know, like that can be like so big, you know? The books are hard.
Just yesterday I sat down.
I'm just gonna give you a time check, okay?
Yeah,
just so you know.
How we doing?
We got like 5 more minutes. Okay. Well, 6 more minutes.
I was gonna say, you know, we never stop creating and we never stop growing in that way. Just yesterday I did these little tea lights that I gave you one, right? Really and it was like my version of creating something by hand because to me is books, you know. So be expansive.
Yeah,
you know? Be expansive. Don't judge yourself and just be playful with it.
Definitely.
Yes.
Definitely.
And so, you know, we think we're going to make this our time slot to the best of our, right?
No more. And they're going to come back and like the wall is just going to be gone.
And so we just kind of want to let you know so that we can eventually, you know, probably create a little circle, you know, and have you join us.
Yeah, be able to
post
answer
some questions. You know, when we see that, you know, people are responding to the time slot, then, you know, we can open it up to questions and comments and, you know, and have an exchange.
More, engaging. More, more live.
Yes.
Like it's live, but more live.
So anything you want to share in closing there, young lady?
No, that's it. It's just like hang tight, you know, it's been crazy. We're all feeling it. I think we're feeling it all maybe at different times a little bit, you know, so just keep that in mind. Sagittarius is coming. Mercury retrograde is coming. Watch your mouth. It's a time where we're going to be like, you know, like just like letting it out, and it is going to be authentic, but just be mindful. Mindful who the company you're with at the time. Is this the right time for that to all come out? You know, like that kind of stuff. There's so much to be said for like, this is me and I'm here and all of that, but at the same time it's like, does that always lead to what we're trying to get done?
Right.
You know what I mean?
Is it for the highest good?
Yeah. It's like being the drunk person at the office party. You know, sometimes we don't want to do that.
Right.
Sometimes it's okay.
Right.
You know, and other times it's like, did you get a lot of that? Like, I didn't know that she was like that. I didn't know she had those thoughts.
Absolutely. Listen, this reminds me also, if you like us to address a particular topic, make sure to leave it in the comment thread.
Yeah, please do.
And this way we'll know, you know, and we'll see if it's a subject
review and then we'll move over.
You know, because I know that a lot of you share and, you know, have questions. They contact us privately. So, you know, any topics.
Yeah, it's nice to have the public forum. Like, I appreciate the private messages, of course, but I think having it in a public place makes it so, it's like better for everybody. You know, it's easier for us.
Yeah.
Because some of the questions are the same, you know, and it's easier to just talk about it.
Yes.
Or it'll just get buried because you don't have the time to answer one thing, you know, and then it's like it's gone after a week because you're down in the email chain, you know.
Exactly.
You know.
Right.
That happens for sure.
Well, that
does
it for us.
Oh, we have to mention our retreat. We're having
yes.
a retreat. We have to talk about this more, so just bear with us. But if you have any questions about it or anything, like please email one of us or ask the
Absolutely.
Facebook. Our emails are available. You'll find them, you know, if you look at your YouTube channel, my YouTube channel here. In the older videos, there's all information. So,
by the way, yes, my channel is Blanca Lavenia Buyer. Some people have questioned, you know, like they can't find me. It's because it's under a Lavenia, Blanca Lavenia Buyer, and you'll find some goodies there and oracle readings and all that. But, you know, definitely stay in touch. And we hope you have a great weekend.
Yeah.
And we love you. And as always, we send you, we're very grateful that you spend time with us. And we send you our love, our light, and our peace until next Friday, hopefully.
Yeah.
We love you. Have a great weekend.
Bye.